Hey guys, welcome to Massive Iron Live. Welcome to Friday. We made it to August. It's almost time to warm up your pumpkin spice lattes. Are you ready for it? It's coming. The fall chaos is coming. We're almost there. Halloween time, pumpkin spice lattes. Look out. Kids are going back to school. Everybody's going to be going crazy. How you guys doing, man? Hope you had a good week. I'm ready to rock, full of dog hair. I had a dog have a surgery. I just took him out. I had to carry the poor bugger. So if I'm all hairy, it's just part of being the big, hairy, ugly dude. Welcome to Massive Iron Live, the longest running lifting podcast in the history of the universe. That's my claim, and I'm sticking to it. Hope you guys had a wonderful week. I do this every week at 11 a.m. Eastern. If you have any questions regarding training, nutrition, or even off topic for fun, go ahead and post them up. I'm here to answer your questions. I am here to help you. We are looking at muscle building, strength building, endurance running, body transformation, anything that is your goal. I have been through it all. I've done it all, and I'm here to help you with your goals. If you are new here, don't hesitate to post up a question. If a question has been asked 1,000 times before, you are in the right place, because I'm not going to tell you to just go search on the internet. I'm going to give you full attention, and I'm always going to answer your questions with respect. Okay. If your questions don't go through, try shortening them or rewording them. Sometimes if they're too long, YouTube does not take them. And sometimes if you put up a word that YouTube doesn't like, it will censor your comment. Before I get started, I just want to make you guys aware. If anybody is tuning in, usually for those of you that don't know, coaching is what I do full time. I coach for a living, and I've been coaching for a living for quite some time. I'm not a check-in once a week guy. I'm not a part-time coach. Those of you guys that see me on Team Massive, basically I'm coaching all day long. I'm looking at messages, looking at form videos, going through the cycle on my coaching app, looking at messages and trying to stay up on, up on top of things as much as I can. And that sounds really ridiculous, but I do. Those of you guys that know me know I work 12, 14 hours a day. I love what I do, but coaching is what I do for a living. So when I'm not on Team Massive or doing this, I am coaching. And I had my best year yet, and I just want to thank you guys. Starting with Black Friday last year, and I can't believe how quickly it's coming up, I've had my busiest and best coaching year, and I sincerely want to thank everybody that has invested time in my coaching services. I do everything I can to help folks, and I encourage my clients, the more information, the better. The more information you can give me, the better. If you're interested in coaching, please go over here and check out the coaching tab. I'm with my clients every single day, Monday through Friday. I go in, I check, I look for your weight, your workout reports, your questions. I usually have a comment or question for my clients. I try to develop a flow and a degree of communication so we can just keep the conversation moving and the accountability moving and just keep folks on track. Everything's highly personalized in this day and age of influencer coaching where everybody is just giving you cookie cutter nonsense. I'm always going to give you personalized coaching. Every Saturday, I do client workout updates. And this might sound insane, but July was my busiest month yet. I had 21 client workout updates in 2 weekends combined, 12 one weekend and 9 the other. People go through different phases of training or they want adjustments. Everything is highly personalized. So if you've not had coaching before, it is only $89.40 after the first month. Prices never go up. And if you have had coaching before and it wasn't up to your expectations, send me a message. I'll tell you how Massive Iron coaching goes. I'll tell you the difference. I'm not just going to check in once a week. I am pushing this right now because I do have about 3 slots that have open, and I want to fill them this weekend if I can. Spring between Black Friday and January 1st is a big time of year for me as far as coaching. And I have about 3 folks that have graduated since then. Some folks graduate just for financial reasons. Some folks, have reached their goals and move on. Some people have moved. You just always have something going on in the coaching world. I do have 3 slots open. So if you're interested, please check that out. Also, one final quick note, custom workouts are my biggest service outside of coaching. And I do those on Saturdays and Sundays. You can check out, if you go over here and you want a custom workout, it's only $39, $39.99. But you can go over here and just go to the search bar and search custom. And I build a complete workout based on your preferences, your equipment, your split preferences, injury history, and I also give you a bulking and cutting guide. Now, one more quick thing. For those of you that have been with me for a very long time, and I have a lot of clients that have been with me a long time, believe it or not, I have a client that's been going on 9 years. I have clients been on for 7 years, 5 and 6 years. Probably a third of my clients have been on for more than 2 years. And it's an honor to be able to work with people and get to know people for that long. I am going to be unveiling a new tier of coaching. And here is what I mean. For those long terms that have been with me for a very, very long time, I'm going to be providing a lifetime coaching service. And by lifetime, obviously, we'll have caveats and whatnot, because that doesn't mean it doesn't mean I'll be coaching you when I'm 79. I might need to retire. But when I say lifetime coaching, right now I have a year of coaching for $6.99. And I'm going to be offering a lifetime service. Some of my clients have been paying the $6.99 yearly for many, many years. So I'm going to be offering a lifetime coaching service. Basically, we will set some parameters when somebody signs up, but I am going to be unveiling that. And I'm looking at doing that for $19.99. For those of you that have been with me for a long time or plan on continuing to be with me for a long time, I just want to offer you an alternative and additional savings. So let's dive into things. Hope you guys are having a good week, and let me know what split you're using, what training. By the way, please come over and join our community on Discord. We run a community on Discord. I don't know if you can. Let me just see if I can post this link. I'm going to try to post this link, and you guys can either go over here. Hold on. Let's see if we can do this. Let's see. I posted it in the chat window on the YouTube. I think you can go over there and just click on it. Please come join. It's troll-free environment. We don't do politics. We don't do religion. We don't do hate. It's just a good escape, good community. A lot of good people over there. And I'm always looking to expand it and add other good people. So if you're not a part of it, please consider joining. All right, let's dive into things. Big Joe B from Team Massive, client of mine. Thanks for tuning in. Good to see you. Rico, thanks for tuning in. Happy to see you as well. How's Massive Sauvage coming along? It's coming. I have it up on my computer, and it is about 13 pages right now. It just needs a little bit of bits and pieces filled in, but I should have it done very, very soon. Big Ernie, client of mine. How's it going, Ernie? Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you, Ernie, using the air quotes on they. They say, whoever they are, right? Recovery and adaptation is the most important part of muscle building, and that it's important to fully recover between training body parts. How long does that typically take? Well, Ernie asked this on Team Massive, but I'm going to go over this a little bit. One of the things that is misguided in the fitness industry is that when it comes to programming, there's kind of this false belief that the way people structure programs is very rigid, like somehow every muscle group recovers at the same rate or pace. And we all know this isn't the case. So, when you are programming, one of the things you're going to learn, one of the things I talk about in the Massive Iron Pillars of Success, and if you don't know what this is, go to my website and search Omnibus or search Massive Iron. I have books with a lot of information you can search on this channel, the Massive Iron Pillars of Success. But one of the things I talk about is evolving training based on needs. So one of the things you're going to learn when you're in the gym is that, hey, one muscle group is taking longer to recover. One I bounce back rather quickly from. Legs, for example, working legs with frequency twice a week can seem really good on paper, but you can get into the gym and you can have prolonged soreness. And all of a sudden you feel like you need to evolve your programming because everything else might work well, training it every 3 or 4 days or 5 days or whatever. But even if you're doing moderate leg work, like just going in and doing squats and maybe leg extensions and leg curls on some sort of a split or full body or frequency approach, you still might be sore 5 or 6 days later. So every muscle group is going to have a slightly more nuanced recovery cycle. That doesn't mean we need to get super elaborate with our programming, but you might need to make some adjustments. So just understand that and understand it's okay to make adjustments. So to flesh this out a little bit, they say recovery and adaptation is the most important part of muscle building. Recovery is important, but it's very rare that we have a program that doesn't allow for proper recovery. If it is, we're going to have to make micro adjustments to our programming. Say your chest is still sore and you want to train it with frequency, we might need to dial down the volume in each one of these workouts. Does that make sense? So I can't say how long it typically takes, but what I can say is most reasonable programs are going to be structured so you have proper recovery built in. With that said, this is one of the values of self-analysis or of coaching. We're going to look at that program, and if something doesn't feel like it's recovering properly using a conventional or reasonable program, we might adjust the volume, we might adjust the program, we might adjust the frequency. That is the best answer, and that is the most honest answer. So I hope that helps some. All right. We are drinking the old Bangaroo. And I'll tell you, if you have a store called Ollie's near you, Ollie's buys stuff from like bankruptcies and businesses that are going out of sale or going out of business, going out of sale. If you go there, you can find a lot of cheap stuff. These are like $1 a piece. And there's so many things at Ollie's you can buy that are absolutely low cost. I bought a bunch of chicken. They have canned chicken and canned tuna right now. They have $10 jugs of creatine. They had $12 jugs of whey protein, the 2-pounders, but still a huge savings. So if you guys have not been to Ollie's or if you have one close, please check it out. Big Ernie, does recovery time increase as you age? I don't find any difference. You find a lot of these, I'm sure you guys have seen this, but you see a lot of coaches now and a lot of coaches that target specific niches online. And I see a lot of coaches that target men over 30, men over 40, men over 50. And they really pander to the specific niche, like, oh, you poor man over 45, you need more recovery time and you need less barbell and compound movements because you're a fragile little teacup. Poor man over 45, I'm going to give you the magic way because you're a fragile little teacup. You're just kind of feeding the machine a little bit. And it's nonsense. I mean, everybody, no matter who you are and what age, you're going to have to evolve your programming. You're going to have to evolve your exercise. You're going to pick up injuries. Time, your ability to invest time at the gym is going to be cyclical. There are going to be some seasons in life where you can lift more and some where you can lift less. And obviously there's going to come, a breaking point as you age where you're going to find you might need a little bit more recovery, and we can adjust our programming. But there is no one size fits all nonsense like that is being shoveled, to men and women that are aging. My wife is home, so the dogs are barking insanely. So I hope that isn't too distracting. But it's not like I'm just sitting here saying, suck it up, buttercup, and, stop, using age as an excuse. It's not like that at all. The generic proclamations of how someone should approach training as they age are very, very arbitrary. Everyone needs to adjust their training based on what is happening currently. That is what I call evolving training based on needs. And that is really the only thing that matters for each of us. What are you doing right now? What is your situation? What do we need to adjust? That's how the process works. Anything else that's shoveled to you, as like wife is so natural, that's it, 100%. Anything else that's shoveled to you, like these generic proclamations, like if you're a woman, you need to train like this. If you're a man over 50, you need to train like this. It's all nonsense. It really is, and that's just part of the cancer of the fitness industry. Big Peter, a client of mine. Good to see you, Peter. Question about warm-up sets and the blurry line between working sets. At what point would the warm-up sets be taken too far? Well, I have a warm-up chart. You can go over to my website, superlivingtoday.com, search warm-up, or you can search it here on YouTube and get it for free. And it's a chart. I have it on Instagram, but Instagram's so hard to find stuff, right? But it shows you a basic outline of how to structure things before a working set. Warm-up sets are required. They're not optional, especially for the big compound movements. When we say warm up, we kind of think like, I need to warm up the body and warm up the temperature and loosen up the body and, bring up the body temperature. Really, the function of a warm-up set for hypertrophy or muscle and strength building is to awaken the central nervous system. So we are recruiting a maximal amount of muscle fibers. Maximal doesn't mean you're always going to be recruiting 100% going into your first set, but you're going to be recruiting more than if you just went in cold and try to bench press 225. The body, if it understands that you're going to be lifting heavy weight, it will incentivize. I'm trying to say this in the right way. Using warm-up sets will awaken that central nervous system, so you're recruiting more muscle fibers and you're more capable of handling the weight. The body is just not going to, out of the gate, say, I'm going to recruit a maximal amount of muscle fibers lifting everything. I want to lift this can. It's not recruiting a maximal amount of muscle fibers lifting that can. And it's the same thing if you go in and try to squat 315 or bench 225 without warming up. You're going to increase the risk of injury. Now, warm-up sets, you ramp up in weight while ramping down in reps. You don't want to be fatigued, and you don't need a lot of reps during your warm-ups to awaken or stimulate the central nervous system. So generally, somewhere around 10% jumps are reasonable. You're going to be starting with the bar, of course. I do bar by 10. On deadlifts, sometimes I do 2 sets of 10 on my warm-up sets, and with just the bar, just to kind of grease the groove a little bit. And then I usually jump up. I start about 45 or 40 or 45%, and then I start ramping up 10%. You might need fewer warm-up sets depending on your starting weight. I mean, if you're benching 135 pounds, you probably don't need an excessive amount of warm-up sets to get there. You probably need something like the bar, maybe, 85, 115, and then you could get into it. But we need a reasonable degree of warm-up sets, and the reps decrease. I'll give you some examples. When I am benching, when I'm going to be benching, let's say I'm going to bench 315 pounds for max reps today. I would go and do the bar by 10 just to get the feel of the exercise. Then I would do 135 by 8 to 10, 185 by 5 to 6, 225 by 3 to 4, 275 by 1 to 2. So I'm increasing the weight and decreasing the reps. So I'm not headed into the working sets fatigued. Does that make sense? There are structures, ramping structures, where you're doing ramping warm-up sets where the line between warm-up sets and working sets are blurred. That's, the style I think Dorian Yates used, and even Mike Mentzer, where your warm-up sets have higher reps. It's perfectly okay to use that system as long as we adapt our progression approach and our volume to meet that system. So if I were to do that type of system, and let's say I do 135 by 10 on bench, 185 by 10 on bench, 225 by 10 on bench, 275 by 10 on bench, and then I attack 315. That's going to be a lot of volume and a little bit more work during my warm-ups than a conventional warm-up protocol. So in that scenario, I would probably consider dialing down my working volume to like 2 sets. And then maybe you could add like the Savage protocol or do a little bit of rest pause afterwards. If you're going to do ramping warm-ups, which can be fun on the deadlifts, can be fun on the bench, not so much fun getting in that extra volume on squats, or certainly not on RDLs. You can do that, but you might want to chop your volume down a set. And this is just a starting point and not a rule. Anything I teach here on the Massive Iron channel is a starting point and not a rule. And from there, you could add in more volume if you wanted to. Does that make sense? Big Barbell Bryce. I am not going to get into his what Barbell Bryce is going through, but he is a major member of the Massive Iron community. And, just give your thoughts and well wishes to him and his family right now. Thank you for all you do with the community. We love you, big guy. That goes both ways. This isn't just some, the community and this, what I do and coaching isn't just some business to me. It is always about people. It will always be about people. And I want you guys to always understand that I'm not here to give just dish out advice. I'm here to help you guys improve your results and improve your life and improve your mental strength and your physical strength and everything. This is about people. I think I worked in the industry for 10 years before I made a penny. And I'm not trying to elevate myself, into some, superhuman. I just love doing this stuff. And it's an honor to make a living doing it. But my community at Team Massive, I wake up every day looking forward to you guys. And sometimes I'm sitting here late at night, 7 o'clock working, and there's not a lot of people around. And I wish you guys were around. I really, really do. Because it is about the community for me. And, I'm never going to pressure anybody to be there, but I just want to grow it bigger and more badass. So please, don't hesitate to join the Discord community. What should one do if they find themselves in the gym after pounding a few Celsiuses only to realize they were actually high noons. Did you guys see this story? You might miss what is going on. The company that makes the Celsius is, I believe, also makes High Noon, which is an alcohol drink. And they actually sent out energy drinks with alcohol in them by mistake. Let me see if I can find that. So people were drinking what they thought were what they thought were energy drinks, and I just pulled up a random news website, so I don't want you guys to think, oh, it's actually the USA Today. Let's just do present, share screen. We'll get a little bit of humor. All right. High Noon recalls vodka seltzers mislabeled as Celsius energy drinks. Imagine getting up at 7 o'clock, grabbing your Celsius energy drink. You're on the way to work. All of a sudden, you're like, "Oh, I don't feel so right today." Yeah. Anyway, it's crazy, but somebody got fired. How do you like that one on your resume? Hey, Bob, why are you trying to apply as the Walmart greeter? You seem a little bit overqualified, Bob. Well, I had a bad day once and I accidentally spiked all the energy drinks with alcohol. I didn't push the right button. And well, didn't they have some kind of quality control, Bob? Oh, let's not get into that. All right. So, Big Justin Jones, how you going? Good morning. Murad, did I pronounce that correctly? I was eating 3,000 calories in a bulk, which was making me gain about zero point 0.5 pounds per week, which you advise. Stop training and diet for 2 weeks. When I come back, how many calories should I start with? About the same. You want to aim for about a kilo weight gain, and that 0.5 per week is right in that sweet spot. 0.5 per week over the course of a month is going to be about a kilo because we have a little extra time in the old week. Some people are like, why, big hairy ugly dude, do you say a kilo a month? And because basically it comes down to this point, a half a pound a week, which over the course of 30, 31 days is going to be roughly a kilo, so a month. So that's why. But yeah, I would go right back to 3,000. 2 weeks off isn't anything dramatic. When you are more than 10 days away from training a big lift like squats and deadlifts and bench, you probably have to drop the weight 10% just for a week and then get back into it. But it's not enough to experience any dramatic change in strength or training. So I would just get right back on the calories, right back with training. Big Justin Jones. I'm leaving for a small vacation for a week this Monday and another week at the end of the month. Usually I don't train on vacation, but this time I'll get day passes to train at least twice. Never been to a real gym before. Any advice? Number one, make sure you go during a time. I would ask the staff, when is the gym least crowded or what are good hours for when the gym aren't super crowded? Because you could accidentally show up and it could just be insanely packed. Go in expecting the unexpected. Sometimes barbells and dumbbells can feel lighter or heavier. You just never know the quality of equipment in a commercial gym. And a barbell could be a pound or two heavier, a pound or two lighter, and the same with plates and the same with dumbbells. So you could get under a bench press and it might feel lighter or might feel heavier. Just expect the unexpected and, be safe and adjust. Smith machines are usually jam-packed. Pec deckies are usually jam-packed. If there's new equipment there that you haven't played around with, go have fun. Try it out. Just use a moderate weight, kind of use a few ramping warm-up sets to get the feel for it and play safe. And I don't know, that's really about it. If you can't get on your equipment, don't panic. Just, do what you need to do. Hold the ship steady. You're not going to lose any strength. The key thing is just to have fun and make sure you're not going there at a time when there are 200 people. Would you count Smart Pop popcorn as an unhealthy food? I don't like to get into that because there are degrees. Some people call a cheeseburger unhealthy, because it has a nasty white flour bun. But there's a lot of good things on a cheeseburger, cheese and beef and maybe even that little slice of lettuce, of fake veggies or tomato or whatever. Um, are fries unhealthy? Well, deep fried food's not the best for you, but there's a potato in there somewhere. So it's always a sliding scale, and we want to reduce the damage on the crap and increase the volume of the good stuff that doesn't have, oversaturation of junk calories or white sugar, white flour. Um, you know, Popcorn is a side item, right? Instead of looking at unhealthy or healthy, let's look at main nutrition and then peripheral stuff. Okay. So, main nutrition is like literally, no pun intended, the meat and potatoes of your diet, right? I'm getting up, I'm eating eggs, I'm eating whatever. Lunch, I'm having a reasonable lunch, maybe meal prep. Dinner, I'm having my, complex carb and meat, whatever. Um, our nutrient dense, protein dense, real foods, whole foods, right? That's the normal. That's the main stuff. That's the 80%. And anything that's outside of that, the peripheral stuff, from smart popcorn to, Doritos to pizza, which, has a lot of wacky stuff in it, extra sodium and the crusts and, processed meats and, not stuff I'm demonizing, but outside of the normal food intake, that's your 20%, right? Deep fried foods, or maybe you have an energy drink once a week with calories. This doesn't have calories, for the record, but I'm just using it as an example. That's your 20%. Okay. What about jerky of beef? Um, I mean, there, really no, I mean, it's beef and you're going to have a lot of extra salt and random seasonings. Perfectly fine. Yeah, I wouldn't consider beef jerky to be the 20%. I wouldn't really consider like salsa to be the 20% because it's mostly veggies. This is mostly beef. Um, when you start adding in chaos to the mix, deep fried foods, white sugar, white flour, you're always going to have pixie dusting and beef jerky of a little bit, maybe added sugar or brown sugar or whatever. But for the most part, it's a real whole food. Don't overthink this stuff. Just try to be reasonable. We're not trying to make rules, but stay within reason, within that 80-20. Richard, how you doing, my friend? Thanks for tuning in. Big Paul from New Mexico, one of my favorite people on planet Earth. Paul, if Steve, if doing an upper lower where you target chest and back on the same day, would you alternate push and pull exercise? I probably would, because there are a lot of big hitters in the mix. Bench press and dumbbell bench and maybe dips or machine chest press. And on the back, you have a lot of big hitters: dumbbell rows, barbell rows, T-bar rows, pendlay rows, seated cable rows, lat pull downs, pull-ups, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of big, juicy exercises in this mix. And I like to balance things. Let's do chest, let's do back, let's do chest, let's do back. The next workout, let's do back, let's do chest, let's do back, let's do chest. Have kind of an A-B split, not just to arbitrarily balance things, but also one of the benefits is if you do chest and like bench press and then you do like dumbbell rows, once you get back to your chest, your triceps and front delts are going to be uh, have a little bit of recovery time, which is just a wonderful thing. So I think it smooths out the bumps a little bit better, and you don't have that cumulative fatigue. And plus, I really don't want to get to exercise 4 in my day and then have to do back and be extremely, extremely fatigued physically at that point. Does that make sense? Again, anything I say on this channel, I want you guys always to understand that I am not creating rules. You can do whatever you want as long as it is reasonable and your weekly volume is reasonable. You could do 2 sets of chest and then 1 set of back, or 1 exercise on back, or what I mean, 2 exercises on chest, 1 exercise on back, 1 exercise on chest, 2 exercises on back. You can do whatever you want as long as it's reasonable. I just want to give you guys good starting point. Paul, thank you for the donation, Paul. I will put it to good use. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, we're 36 minutes in. I will stay on as long as you guys have questions. Just a reminder, I am looking to add 3 people in coaching this weekend. These slots go really, really quickly. I know a lot of people say that on the internet, but with my coaching, I've been doing YouTube for 12 or 13 years with all my articles on muscle and strength and Tiger Fitness. I don't ever have, I'm very lucky that I don't ever have to, prospect, so to speak, for clients. My ledger always stays full. That's a huge blessing. I thank you guys for that. But sometimes we do have these little dips, where I do have a little bit of extra room between now. A lot of people start out coaching between Black Friday and New Year's. And then you'll see people just hopping on normally and consistently between then. Sometime around July and August, you get kind of a little bit of fade where I have a couple people fall off. So it's a good time to re-rack. I do have 3 coaching spots. So if you're interested, go over here and check out coaching. These will be filled up by this weekend. And I know that sounds like hype, but I can only coach so many people. And people will fill out the form or application for coaching, and I will send them an email. I'll never pressure them, and things just stay pretty full. So if you're interested, hop on. We can set up a time to talk and get rolling. All right, where are we at? Nolan, client of mine, one of my favorite people on planet Earth, massive lifting story of the week. What shall we talk about? So one of the interesting things about, you guys probably go through this to any varying degree on social media, Facebook, being maybe in a Facebook community or just being on Facebook or Instagram or maybe YouTube comments, just really crazy responses, hate comments, right? It's all part of the business, and I'm not, boo-hooing. I don't really pay any attention to them. If somebody thinks I'm an idiot or my advice is bad, I truly wish them well. Just find somebody you connect with. I'm not going to be for everybody, so I get it. And I'm not a 22-year-old influencer. I get it. And that's no disrespect to anybody. But I'm not for everybody. So occasionally you'll have one of my favorite types of comments is, and I got one this week, when somebody comes on and finds your channel and they see like this 57-year-old guy in a Wisconsin hoodie talking about lifting, who doesn't have like 800 workout clips going in the background or over processed, videos. I don't have time to overproduce videos because I'm literally working 70 to 75 hours a week with people, with clients, with Team Massive, doing the stuff I love. And so, this and getting out 2 extra videos a week is about my limit right now because of coaching. And That's fine. I mean, I put out a lot of information over the years. I don't need to continually churn out a video every day. But anyway, the long story short, and the story is you'll get people that'll find your channel and they'll see a guy, a 57-year-old guy, talking about lifting. And instead of filtering the advice and listening to the advice and maybe learning something, you will get these weird knee jerk reactions, right? Like, you're just an old guy that doesn't even lift. Do you even lift? You don't even lift. You're just an old guy talking about lifting. There can be this jaded side to YouTube. I'm sure guys like Louis Simmons and Ripito get it, the older coaches that have been through the mill, like I'm sure they get, you don't even lift anymore, or you even lift, or haven't you even lifted? People that stumbled upon Louis Simmons, in his prime. I'm sure any older coach gets that, but I got one this week, that's like, you don't even lift. You're just some old guy. I bet you don't even lift. You don't even lift. I bet you don't even lift anymore. And the reason why I find it funny, and again, it doesn't bother me, but the reason why I find it funny is, um, I have always tried to document my stuff. I've always tried to be transparent with my journey. You guys know I was 346 pounds. I nearly ate myself to death. I looked like crap. I was morbidly obese. I was strong, but I looked awful. Right. And my health was awful. I've always been transparent. I started out doing this in a basement gym with a big beard, and I was depressed. And I was trapped in a body I didn't like. This isn't I'm not going to pretend this is some perfect journey and I'm some perfect influencer. Or do you really want a coach who is going to pretend he's never had struggles and just popped up at age 22, able to lift all day long? That's not my thing. So we're always going to be real. I'm trying to reach real people with real struggles and real issues. And, if you want me to pretend I'm perfect, you're in the wrong place, my friend, because that is a lie. And, we're adults here. We're not doing that game. But I've always tried to be transparent with my lifting, and I never feel comfortable talking about a lift if I don't have a video. And I have literally, but I have closing in on 12,000 Instagram posts over the years, and we're well over 3,000 YouTube videos. And I have so many videos on my Facebook as well. And the point of this is simple. I literally have well over 1,000, if not 2,000 videos of me lifting. My body transformation is documented. My endurance running is documented. My powerlifting meets are documented. Everything I've ever done, I've documented, because it's important for me, not just to get on this box and talk, but to show you guys I've been there, right? I'm not perfect, but I've been in the pits. I've learned from endurance running. I've learned from powerlifting. I've coached dozens of people on the platform in powerlifting. I have coached Special Olympians in powerlifting. I've coached people competing for bodybuilding. I've done, I've had a dramatic body transformation. MSNBC picked up my story. I was voted one of the top 10 most inspirational people in health and fitness by Men's Health. I'm not patting myself on the back, but what I'm saying is I've documented everything, and I've tried to be transparent as possible with everything. So the point of this lifting story is, for me, it's funny when somebody comes onto the channel, somebody new to the channel, and just attacks. And right. And like, I don't think I could have documented things any more or been any more transparent, given the time I have. So I don't know. It's just, you get different types of haters that come along. But that's what I would call the hater that is just embarrassing themselves. All right. let's get on with stuff. Big Ben, how's it going? Ben from the UK, good to have you here. Ben is a long-term client of mine, somebody I care about a lot. I hope you're doing well, Ben. Big Mike M, how do I know I'm performing an exercise too fast? You send me a video and I will tell you. If I don't see control during an eccentric, and I don't see a very deliberate, like on a, if I don't see a deliberate action, like on a seated cable row, if I don't see a slight stretch at the bottom, we're not going for extreme stretches. But if I just see like jerky turning around and fast eccentrics, you're losing a good degree of mechanical tension from the set, a good degree of that quality stress. We're not going for a specific tempo. And we're not going to slow down a set for the sake of slowing it down and getting some golden time under tension. But if on seated cable rows, you're just going, boom, no focus, speed, we're going to, got 12 reps, good, thumbs up. That's not muscle building. That's not even base building for strength building. That's just recklessly going through reps. We don't have to be overly crazy with control, but control the weight down, get a slight stretch of the back and lats, drive the elbows back. Very deliberate. Control the weight down, get a slight stretch, drive the elbows back. Machine chest press, okay? Press, control the weight down, get a slight stretch of that chest, press. It's, if you don't know, send me videos. The big bad boy compound lifts, we want control more than anything. I just don't want you beating up your body. We're not after specific tempos. It just has to look control and not reckless and functionally effective, right? We're not trying to overanalyze time under tension or mechanical tension and stress, but there has to be a degree of reasonable deliberateness. Does that make sense? Big Lee. I keep hitting +1s and I've gained more size, but now my clothes are getting too tight and my baby mom wants me to cuddle her again. No one warned me about this happening. I don't know what to tell you, man. It means you're on a good track. Upgrading that wardrobe, bicepticons, tricepticons, chesticles, trapezoids, quadrizoids, all that stuff is growing at a rapidly increasing rate, and the world's affection for you is growing as well. Just bench 225 on the incline for the first time. What is the average bench incline differential? That's a very good question. If somebody is benching 315 for 5, I would expect them to incline bench 255 to 275 by 5. If somebody is around 225 by 5 on bench, I would expect them to incline maybe around 185, 195, roughly. So I don't really have a specific, number, but it's probably somewhere in that range. Like overhead pressing, generally I say should be roughly 75%, or a little bit lower, maybe 75% of your bench. And incline is a little bit higher than that, maybe 80, 85, somewhere in that range, roughly. Big Lee. On some lifts, does doing a half rep to start the set, then more ROM as the set continues? On some lifts, does doing a half rep to start the set, then more ROM as the set continues normal? It can be normal. My only advice is don't overthink it, right? If you have to do kind of a partial to get things engaged or whatever, that's fine. Just count the reps. Don't get caught up in the numbers or, always focus on hard training. Hard training, maximizing a set. If something feels half C's, that's okay. Just count it. Just a reminder, guys, this is the link for the Discord. And it's a temporary link, so it's going to expire. If it expires, you can head over to Instagram. If it doesn't work, head over to Instagram and just DM me. I'll send you the link. It is discord.gg/NGC, capital S, lowercase f, lowercase u, capital N 2. Not gonna see something FU nothing 2. How's that? All right, what do we got here? Hey, Stephen T. Massive, good to have you here. Thanks and have a good weekend. Glad to have you here. Thank you for tuning in. Good morning, Steve. I recently started. Oh, my light just flickered. Thought we are going to have some kind of an alien invasion. Power surge, something that happens in one of those sci-fi movies. Good morning, Steve. I recently started having shoulder pain when benching, even with a warm-up weight. That's not good. I'm doing physical therapy. Any advice? We need to, if you're serious about muscle building, we need to, hit the chest to a reasonable degree, but everything needs to be personalized. We don't want to just say, hey, gird up your testicles and go hit the gym and beat up your shoulder. You probably want to invest in like a bench press slingshot to have around just for support until you can get this sorted. And then you can deload the weight and see if that's impacting you. I don't know the nature of the shoulder pain. I'm not trying to play doctor and but there are certain things steps we need to take. The first step is to remove the exercise for a few weeks and see if an injury starts to get better. I don't know the nature of the pain. The second step could be just deloading. The second option is just deloading the weight for a number of weeks and see if the pain starts to get better. And beyond that, you can use a bench press slingshot, but we have to take that seriously. And I don't know your physical therapist. I don't know their capabilities, but we also have to be proactive in the gym. So I hope that helps some. Duca, how are you? Good. Thanks for tuning in. Big Brian Self, good morning. How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Wife is home, act natural. My wife has a lot of dance and fitness classes, and she's home late a lot of times. So I will always post the funny, maybe not funny, GIF, meme, whatever. Wife is home, act natural on the Team Massive. JK Julian, hello from Greece. Thanks for tuning in. Big Joe B on Smith Machine, JM Press. Today I found retracting my scapula took stress off the shoulders and naturally brought my elbows closer. Is this okay if it makes an Yeah, absolutely. The prime directive on an exercise is make it feel natural for you. If that feels natural and you can kind of retract the scapula and it brings when you do that, it's going to have a tendency to bring the elbows in. If that makes it feel natural for you, by all means. Big Joe G, from Joe B to Joe G. Been training for 25 years, and this is the first time I tried a bro split. Workout going great and volume increased. Like you said last week, it doesn't matter as long as you stay consistent. Absolutely. The magic is going to be, if there's something about it you don't like, making an adjustment, making a small adjustment. Do I like this? Do I like that? Maybe I don't like this. Just make the adjustment if needed. Big Jimmy. If I've added 18 pounds to my bench in a year, is there any way to deduce the amount of weight I might have added on the scale in terms of muscle mass? Not really. Everybody, some of strength gains are limb lengths and leverages, etc. I will say, if you are in good control, and look, going from 300 to 318 on the bench, or 185 to 203 or whatever, is going to have a different impact. I can tell you it's always going to have an impact. It's always going to be minor. If you, let's just generalize for the sake of generalizing. I haven't pulled up, Chat GPT this week, and I like to have AI, give us some wacky answers. Just see what it says, just play around with something smarter than us. So let's put this in there and just do like a kind of a logic puzzle, a puzzle or game. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. So if we have, and this is all theoretical, if we have a lifter that starts with no muscle mass and a 95-pound bench for 5 reps and gains, let's just say, 32 pounds of mass over the course of his career, ending at a bench of 315 by 5, how many pounds of muscle would they gain for each 18-pound increase on bench? Now, obviously, this is very dumbed down, rather arbitrary, but in a bigger and broader sense. If I took 100 guys and they all started out at 95 by 5 on bench or in that area, and we got them 30 pounds of muscle in 5-10 years, doesn't matter. And the bench press was just one indicator. They got their dumbbell real big, they got their barbell real big, they got their overhead press big, they got their squat big in a relative sense. So we're looking at one variable. We're not saying the bench press alone drives mass. So this would be in concert with getting everything else in the human body as big and as strong as possible and equatable with this type of bench progress. So let's see what the old GPT has to say. Blah, 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 ... Total increase in bench is 220 pounds, 32 pounds. So 0.145 pounds of muscle for pound of bench. So roughly 7, the ratio of 7 to 1. That's an interesting ratio, roughly the ratio of 7 to 1. So every 7 pounds on your bench, you gain a pound of muscle. Wouldn't that be nice? But that's roughly what it shakes down to. And curiously enough, when you add 1 rep to your bench press max, your top set, you're adding 5, 6, or 7 pounds to your max. So in this sense, if we are doing everything right and we are nailing our rest and recovery and nailing our bulking, and nailing our consistency, we could, in a dumbed down way, say for nearly every rep we add on our bench, we're adding at least 3/4 of a pound of muscle over the long run. It's not a rule that says every rep on your bench is going to add about 3/4 of a pound of muscle. This is not a rule. And we're not trying to make a rule and say this happens all the time. But over the long run, if you smooth out everything and somebody does gain 30 pounds, you could easily say that. So multiply that by 18 pounds. That's going to be about 3 rep additions on your bench. This would make for a really good video. It's an interesting topic. So please remind me to make a video on this week. Somebody will get their undies in a bundle, but I would like to explore maybe a lift for each body part, military press or dumbbell overhead, squat, deadlift, bench. So roughly you're looking at, if you're doing everything correctly, roughly over the long run. And again, we're making some big assumptions here. Okay, we're making the assumption that you are engaging in consistent and effective lean bulking. We're making the assumption that this occurs over a long-term process and there's not a lot of deep fat loss periods involved. where somebody is going from 270 in weight to 200 while bringing their bench from 135 to 185. That's going to play a role in the equation as well. So there's a lot of variables. We're not trying to create rules saying this always happens or A always creates B. But in a bigger picture sense, this is very interesting to discuss. And I think it's something I've never even considered making a video on. I think it would be a wonderful and just interesting topic. So please, Team Massive, somebody DM me, somebody remind me to make a video of it this week. So basically, every rep addition on your bench is going to be roughly 5, 6, 7 pounds to your 1 rep max. If you have 3 rep additions to your top set, you are adding about 0.9 pounds of muscle, 0.85 per rep addition. That's pretty exciting, right? All righty. Someone's going to hate me for even discussing this, like I'm trying to make a rule, but let's see. Good morning, Steve. You posted this morning about your 5, 10, 10, 20 program. What if I'm a guy who doesn't do the whole bulk cut thing? Well, you can do the protocol. I mean, I'm not being snarky when I say this, but if you don't want to do the bulk or cut protocol, that's fine with you. You just need to understand that you're going to make it a lot more difficult to build mass, like far more difficult, and far more difficult to build bench press strength beyond going from beginner to early intermediate stage. Not a criticism. You can do whatever you want, but that's just the simple rules of the game. Good morning, Steve. Is it bad that every time I'm in the gym, I'm hoping to see a plate fall on the foot of one of these guys wearing Birkenheimers? I don't know. I hate to be that guy, but I get you. I get you. So yeah, I don't know. We all have our things. Let's laugh at each other, right? We all have our things that trigger us about other people. And I'm sure there's certain things that trigger me about people. Like I just shared a story earlier. Sometimes just not being 28 anymore triggers people that I'm still teaching. Why are you still teaching, you old guy? So, we all have things that trigger us about other people. And, it's fair. We can laugh about it. Not everything needs to be serious. We need to be able to laugh at each other and not take everything serious. If toe socks or toe feet or whatever, bother people or whatever, let's just laugh at it. It's not serious. We're not attacking people. So where can I buy that Wisconsin hoodie? I actually have several. I like this so much because people, that might seem ridiculous. Like, why is this goofball always wearing these hoodies? I have a Wisconsin hoodie and I have an Army hoodie. My nephew is at West Point, so I wear the Army hoodie to support him. I have other hoodies, but they're a lot thicker. There's a reason this goofball is always wearing the same hoodies all the time in videos or on lives. I am in my basement. It is a big furnace basement. I have a gym over here, and it doesn't matter if it's hot as Hades outside. It's always cool down here to the point where I can't wear a t-shirt. Always. Always, always, always. So this particular hoodie and the one I have with the Army hoodie, it's not super thick, right? It's very breathable. It's pretty light and provides the right degree of warmth. And it's perfect for being down here in the freezing dungeon. So I am the type of weirdo that when he finds a piece of clothing or a sock or underwear, I buy like 8 billion pairs of it, right? I don't know if you guys have been there where like you find something you really like and you buy a lot of it because you're just weird like me. Right. So the weird thing is like we built the house. We moved in here and we're in kind of a housing development area where there's other houses going up around us. And whenever I go to take the dogs out or go out front or take the garbage out, I'm wearing a hoodie and it's like 8,000 degrees outside. And all my neighbors are probably like, does this weirdo wear the same thing all the time? He's a weirdo. Why is this guy so weird? He's a weirdie. Yeah, it's true. It's freezing down here. I have a T-shirt right here on I have a recliner chair down here, um, and I'm just reading Martin's comments. I want to feature them in just a second, but yeah, I have a T-shirt down here when I'm working out, and I need to slip into a T-shirt, but I go outside and my neighbors probably think I never, ever, 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 ever change clothing. And it's like I live down here 70, 75 hours a week. And it's chilly. So there's a website. I mean, if you're serious, I can show you the website where I got my hoodie. So, all righty. So I just want to skip the Martin's comments. I have about 15 of the same plain tee. You understand. I mean, I'm a man of simple pleasures. When I find like a certain type of underwear or sock, I wear like the sleeveless t-shirt, the undershirt. I like wearing those. We're going on the weekend or just in general. I get the same brand. I get this. I had 4 pairs of the same jeans. I like them so much. I just get the same stuff. And I have like, if I get a t-shirt I really like, I get like 3 or 4 of them. I just do. I don't care what the neighbors think. I have around 8 new pairs of the exact same running shoe. I ran in the Solomon Speed Cross 4s. I think I had about 15 pair. I was ordering every pair left in existence, on eBay, used pairs. I got to the point where I was buying used pairs. My wife's like, "You're buying a used pair of running shoes? Somebody else is like, it's mud and stuff and whatever. It's been cleaned. I'm not going to die. There might be a lingering cootie or molecule of foul juiciness, but I'm going to wear it anyway. But yeah, I ran in the same pair of running shoes forever, to the point where I knew exactly where they were going to crack and break down every time. And I knew the exact life of the shoe. Resident Englishman checking in to a live for the first time. It's good to have you, Martin. I mean, I know Martin has gone through shoulder surgery. Just good to have Martin around. Started my new, I clicked on that and that didn't come up. Started my new physio regimen today, and it feels so much more like active work. Glad to hear that. A step forward, so we'll take that as a huge victory. The Girl and Her Gong. Great name, by the way. How can someone as little as you be doing a weightlifting channel? This is hilarious. At first, I thought that said I thought you were going to ask how someone could start a weightlifting channel. How can someone start a lifting channel? I don't know. I don't know, guys. So all I know is I appreciate you guys. And I've been doing this for so long. The hate comments don't bother me. There are some things that bother me on YouTube. I've had a stalker for 5 years that continues. He's a 50-year-old fireman. He's probably watching now. Somewhere in Tennessee. I've pinpointed him. It's to the level where his stalking is just off the charts weird. And he hates me because I'm not ripped and won the online coach of the year. We have different goals, and for some reason he judges me and hates me because I don't have the same goals as he does. He keeps telling me I'm going to die of a heart attack, which is probably true. He keeps telling me I'm out of shape. He was telling me I'm out of shape when I was running like 12 to 14 hours a week, so I'm like, thanks, man. Because I didn't have abs, to him, I was out of shape. And it's like, buddy, most professional athletes, I would say the majority of professional athletes don't have abs. So it was just kind of weird the connection or projection that some in the fitness industry can have. He's angry at me that I help people for a living, but I somehow I have to have abs and a six pack and take my shirt off to be able to help you guys. And these people, I can't stress enough. There have been people like this over the years that have gone to the extremes where they are so bizarre that they get scary. Like, are they going to show up on my doorstep? Because these people are completely next level, not right. Richie UK, would you advise barbell squats in your 60s? If you're starting up or you're starting back up, it would be okay to play around with them, but treat them like dancing with a bear. Very slow, very deliberate. Let's not just try to add weight every week doing linear progression type of nonsense. Let's be real. If you heard a lot of noise that sounded like thunder, that's my stomach. I actually haven't eaten yet, so I'm doing semi-fasting today. We have to treat it like dancing with a bear. Go slow into things. Really look at your form. If you want to squat, let's go slow. Let's get a light amount of weight. Have me do form checks. Join Team Massive Discord. Send me form checks on email, benthebarman@gmail.com. However you have to reach me, okay? But let's look at your form. If you are interested in doing them, do them. If you just want to build muscle, but you feel pressure to do squats and deadlifts, don't do them. We have so many other tools. I don't think you know what you're talking about later. Thanks. He's being facetious. We were talking about the story with the guy that came along. So anybody that's tuning in later that doesn't know the context of the comments, I was telling a story about the people that come on the channel and assume like you don't have any lifting videos up or you never posted a picture of yourself. And they come on the channel and they just start mocking you. These days, I still try to post a video of my lifting once a month or a random photo when I take it once a month. But I'm not like, I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm trying to, let's do that. Oh, shoot. Okay. That's me, right? Recently, it's not from yesterday or anything, but that's me. That's how I look. My red shoes that I own 10 pairs of. That's me at a gym. I'm not ripped. I'm not small. I'm not a dainty little flower. I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm no longer a power lifter. That's just me. Same hat, right? That's me. That's what I look like. So, all righty, where are we at? Jordan, how you doing, Jordan? Good to see you, client of mine. Woodulus, how's Bluey Skidooey doing? I had, for those of you guys that don't know, I have 5 dogs, and I am a big dog guy. I love my dogs. I have dachshunds, absolutely wonderful, smart dogs. Chi-Chi is kind of the dog that follows me all around. These guys become very Velcro dogs. And I have 5 dachshunds, absolutely love the breed. Just wonderful dogs, smart dogs, very loyal, very protective, and very aggressive. They are part of your team, and people that aren't part of your team, they do not like. So it's a good home dog. This is Bluey Skidooey. He was the 4th dog that we had. We took him in from the breeder. We developed a really good relationship with the breeder after 3 dogs, and he had an umbilical hernia when he was born. So he had like this sac that was this big, filled with fat, and we took him in. We've had him, I don't know, 16 months now. We took him in for surgery. It was a lot of money, and we got that fixed. And so we took him in as a special needs or special care dog, or however you want to phrase it. And he was our 4th dog. Our 5th dog was kind of a special circumstance as well. He was near death the day I picked him up. That is Mr. Bird, or Little Bird, or Birdie Bird, as I call him. And he had all ribs. He was super light. He wasn't eating. He had pneumonia. I thought the moment I picked up Bird, he was going to die within a week. I didn't really think he was going to make it. And now he is just a wonderful, wonderful part of the family. He is doing really well and full of personality. So we have five dachshunds, and I was going to look for a video or a photo of them all, but I don't have one. My daughter turns 14 on Sunday, and she wants a gym membership. That's wonderful. That's positive steps. Modeling the activity of dad. That's wonderful. How do I make a well-rounded program without having too many exercises? I have quite a few videos on programming or building a workout, and I'm going to pull this up, my YouTube channel up real quick. Tons of free content. Specifically on this channel, let me just mute it. Specifically on this channel regarding building workouts. I have live videos where I build workouts, and just let me go here. Okay. Present, share screen. So if you go to the main page of the tube of YouTube, and you go here, and let's just search build live. What do we get? How to build a body part split live in real time. So I show you how to do that. Massive mass, building that in real time. I got a couple of those. And I have, let's see, tons of videos where I talk about, here's how to build a workout. That's an older one. How to build a workout the massive iron way. That's 5 years ago, part 104. How to easy mode, building a workout. This is from 2 years ago. How to build a great workout. I have tons and tons how to build a great workout using 2 sets. Tons and tons of information on here. I don't know if I got this muted because I don't want us to listen to ads. But if you just go over to the main page and search build a workout,
Scott 1000 last
you're going to get a ton of great stuff. Let's get past the ads here. There, we're going to. Okay. So step 1. Step 2, this is variable. You can use different number of days per week. Use 6 exercises per day. This is just a starting point. All this stuff, very, very defined steps. If you can't find any of this stuff or you want to learn more, don't hesitate to message me and I will send you the links. Jordan, I have a pet peeve about running shoes in the gym. Every time I see them, I just imagine them popping out their ankle on their squat. See, yeah, we all kind of have different pet peeves, so I get it. Lee, all right, guys, this is last call. I think we got like 4 or 5 questions left. Last call for questions. If I don't get anywhere, an hour and 20 minutes in. If I don't get any more, I will be hopping off. Ever met Lyle? Ever since Mike Israel crashed out, I've been binge watching him and Solomon Nelson's podcast. I've never met Lyle. I did message him once to set up a video and discuss things. there's a lot of good things that Lyle puts out. And, I enjoyed watching the battle between him and Mike not because I like drama, not because I like seeing grown men fight about lifting, but we can learn things sometimes from these heated discussions from these big personalities. The best part that comes out of this is what we're going to learn if you're willing to learn. Is Mike going to failure? Is Mike not going to failure? Is Mike training hard? Those debates aside, they're foo-foo debates. But the real value in these discussions is that we can learn something. Am I training hard enough? Am I close enough to failure? That sort of thing. So, Big Troy. Sorry. Hope all is well. How's your training? Training's going good. And my back and chest are really grooving nicely. I had an elbow issue, so I'm trying to figure out my limit and what range to train my strength in. Last week, I believe I did 275 for 2 sets of 10 on the bench, and then some rest pause, savage sets afterwards. I'm trying to figure out that sweet spot so I don't aggravate my injury. Dumbbell rows are going good. I've been slowly building back up on dumbbell rows. I did 2 weeks in a row where I did 150s for sets of 10. I would go bigger on the dumbbell rows, but right now I'd have to put 2 45-pound plates on each side. And quite honestly, it gets so cumbersome. It's just, I don't really know. I really just want to buy a 150-pound dumbbell or 180-pound dumbbell and, just use a single dumbbell. It's a lot easier than having this big plate. And sometimes it doesn't feel like you're getting the best range of movement. Thank you. I'd like to order that from your website. I don't sell these, but if anybody wants, a link, let me know. Is Dante Trudell actually real or a collective consciousness formation of bodybuilding forms? Very good question. I like following Dante. He and I think eye to eye on a lot of things. We're very similar. He doesn't say a lot on social media, but what he says is very poignant and very on target. I feel like rescues have so much personality because they're so grateful to be in a happy home. R2 really, really do. R2 weren't necessarily rescues. They were just had really, really bad issues from birth. So, it's, we love dogs. They're part of my family. When you go to adopt a dog and they put you through all this stuff and you're like, are you willing to do this? You're willing to do that. My dogs are like my kids. They're such I'd do anything for them. So MCM, I want to focus on pull-ups during sets of 1, 2, 3, 4, doing sets. How do I integrate this into my back and biceps day? Definitely before your biceps work. You don't want to do pull-ups with biceps fatigue. Since they are a priority, I would lead off with this, with the caveat that if you're doing deadlifts, I would do deadlifts first before I would do deadlifts first before I do pull-ups. So, I'd like to see your back work. If you're curious about, getting a little bit more advice on that, send me your back program or post it up now. I'd be happy to take a look and, let me know it. I'll let you know what I think. But for the most part, if it's a priority, I would do the, pull-ups first and then everything else afterwards, unless you're doing deadlifts. All right. Have you followed anything about Jonathan Warren and the rib compression stuff? No, I don't have any idea. If you guys can toss up a brief cliff notes of that, I'd be happy to take a look and discuss it. But actually, I was thinking about just pulling up the GTP and educating all of us. So let's do that since we're down on questions. We're about done with questions. Let's see. What do we have? Let's pull it up and look while we're waiting for the final questions. Share screeny weenie. And share screen. All right, you can see it. What is this all about? Hopefully it's nothing. Oops. What? Here's a recent video where Jonathan Warren breaks down rib cage compression and how it affects chest development and physique compression. Breathing during this all sounds way too complicated. I'll look at it. I don't know what he's getting into or what his stuff is, but it sounds way too complicated and something. No, I don't have any idea what's going on. I just lift weights and build muscle and strength. I'll take a look at it a little bit closer when I can, when I have the time. Are you still doing custom programs? 100%. They are a main part of when I'm not doing coaching, I'm doing custom programs on the weekend. They are only $39, and everything is completely customized. It's not cookie cutter. You're going to get something from the massive iron world. And I keep I love doing these. They're fun little, I do them on Saturdays and Sundays. My website is superlivingtoday.com. And if you go over there, you can go to menu and you go to services and you can see custom workout design or the phone consultation, custom workout design, or you can just search custom in the old search button and you get the custom workout design and assessment. I try to send this off within minutes of receiving these, but depending if it's a weekend or night, I don't always do that. But you will get a set of questions and I don't know, 10 questions. I base the workout off your equipment, injury history, split preference, and I set up a basic bulking and cutting strategy. Everything is cookie cutter, or everything is not cookie cutter. It's the opposite of cookie cutter. It is set up completely customized, and I try to leave that as a good value for folks. So just let me know if you need any more information. Back day is currently pull-ups, lat pull-downs, dumbbell, chest supported rows. Okay. That's reasonable. Yeah, I do pull-ups first, unless you want to do a couple light machine pull-downs to warm up the area. How do you implement progressive overload in the program? When I do a custom program, I have so many progressive overload tools that can I share with you guys what one of them looks like? I'm going to make a copy of the document so I hide the person's name. So just give me a second. Give me a second to find one I did last weekend. And everybody varies. It's some people want a 5-day-a-week program. People want 3-day-a-week programs. Everything is completely. I'm just trying to find. Okay, so I'm going to make a copy of this one because I don't want the person's name out here. I don't want them to. And I'll open it and I'll show you guys what they look like. And I'll just make up a name. Bob Barker. All right. Not the real Bob Barker. All right. What do we got here? Present, share screen. This is what a custom workout looks like. So when somebody orders a custom workout, I will pull up their questions on Gmail that I receive back, their answers. And I will make a copy of this template because it's a template. Again, nothing is cookie cutter, but I make a copy of the template. I'll list their height, weight, and age initially for reference and their goals. And then I will go through and look at the notes, anything major they sent over. I wanted a 3-day program, no squats, bench, deads, dips and chins, okay. I worked out at YMCA, okay with the slow bulk, approximate maintenance. This isn't required, but it's just information that he gave me. I will give them a bulking and cutting strategy. This individual just needed something very simple because their weight was already at 166. Some of these are a lot more elaborate depending on the individual. So, training program, I suggested the following for him, and I'm going to have different protocols. This was very straightforward programming for this individual because he wasn't looking for anything earth shattering. So we did some bulldozer stuff, some straight rep stuff, but depending on the individual and how advanced or what they like to do, we have a whole ton of different possible progression opportunities, from the threes protocol to the 6-minute deadlift protocol to the twos protocol to the DDP to the straight sets to the savage stuff to the bulldozer stuff. And my more advanced guys that come for advanced strength training will do I'll set up phases and all kinds of things. So everything is completely individualized based on needs and goals and preferences, etc. Jordan, his custom program was good bang for the buck. It's a good entranceway into moving into coaching. Thank you. And that's one of the reasons why I like to keep it reasonably inexpensive. All right, guys, we're an hour and 30 minutes in. I'm going to be dropping off. I'll wait just a minute for any questions. Before I do so, just a reminder, head over to my website, superlivingtoday.com. Click that coaching tab. Search for custom workouts. Also check out the apparel. I got a lot of good quality apparel. If you like lifting stuff, lifting shirts, basic massive iron stuff, I only make about $5, off of a shirt. And I'm not trying to be a t-shirt company, so I keep the prices. If you go over to superlivingtoday.com and you search apparel and you go by new to old, I add up new stuff occasionally. This is something I made this week. Dear Abs, I'm busy massing. That's the shirt. I'm busy massing. And I put together this one the other day. Just random silliness. Massive ahoy, do you even lift? Just a bunch of random lifting shirts that are fun and different. So, Bo, be on the lookout for an email from a program. Thank you. What is the best progressive overload method your clients see the most results on? Threes is the bread and butter that I use for the most part. And you look, the threes protocol, basically you do a heavier set between 5 to 7 reps, and you drop down 10% for a second set, drop down 10% for a third set. This is the standard protocol I use. Not for everybody, not at all times, but it's a very integral part of my coaching. And it gives you 3 opportunities to hit PRs on any given day on each exercise. And I almost always see consistent movement on that. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Please come back. Please come back next Friday. I'd be absolutely nothing without your questions. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great weekend.
It's not almost over. It's not almost over. You're not almost there. You're not almost there. You're not almost there.
Good. Anyway, you had an adaptation.
When it's farther out.
Just go. You don't care. Go.
Just a little bit of difference out there. Great, Steve.
Thank you, sir.